Please help me welcome to the stage Robin Weber Pollak.
People don't usually tell stories about climbing halfway up a mountain. Half a hike is just not really the stuff of glory and triumph. But my half ascent of Mount Kilimanjaro was kind of an entertaining occasion if you can get past the things that were hard about it. And it was a turning point, I would say, in how I view travel. And it had some funny bits too, so I hope you'll find it worthwhile. In 1997, I was a very typical 15-year-old girl. My friends were my top priority. Summer camp was pretty much my life. I thought that my parents' job was, I guess, kind of cool in an abstract way, but for me personally, was interested in normal vacations. I wanted to know what a cruise was like. I wanted to lie on the beach for a couple of days. And only a couple of days because I wanted to get back to my friends. Yet, that summer in 1997, my parents said we were going to take a safari in Africa. And I don't know how I was so jaded about travel that I was dreading a safari, but to me, the thought of missing the first half of summer camp because I was in Africa, it was awful. I had major fear of missing out. I was pretty sure that postcards from 7,000 miles away to the cute boys at camp was not going to stake my claim for the summer. I had to be there. Nonetheless, 15-year-olds don't usually win fights with their parents unless their parents let them. So I was going with my two parents, with my 9-year-old brother, Noah, my little brother here today. We were setting off to Africa. And the plan was a 2-week safari followed by an ascent of Mount Kilimanjaro. Or really, I should say, some of us would go all the way up and the others just halfway. My dad would go with the group of Journey's travelers, start out together, and they would make it all the way to the peak. But my mom hates steep trails. And I don't think my brother was legally old enough to be on the mountain. So the plan was that the two of them and our guide, Moroso, who actually is also here tonight, that they would go halfway up the mountain, cut across the side on a little used trail, and then go back down to the base, be done 2 days ahead of the group, and spend 2 more days on safari before reuniting. I got stuck with the Meek group because you can force somebody to go on a safari, but you can't really force someone to climb a mountain. So me and my attitude problem were only going halfway. We spent 2 weeks on safari before getting to Kilimanjaro, and we saw amazing things. We went to a giraffe preserve, and we got to feed giraffes out of the palm of our hands. We saw baby cheetahs in the wild. We saw a crater full of thousands of flamingos. And despite myself, I thought it was kind of cool. I mean, really, who doesn't like a safari in Tanzania? So after those 2 weeks, I would say my negativity had dissipated. We got to Kilimanjaro. We joined our group of fellow travelers. They were pretty cool. There was another teenager like me. There was his brother, who was an aspiring Navy SEAL, kind of the caricature of the group. There was an older guy who was a retired special ops fighter helicopter pilot, I think. And he had lots of stories. My brother was obsessed with aviation at that point in his life. He was going to be a pilot, and he pumped this guy for information. He had tons of questions. He wanted to know, what kind of missions do you fly? And how long can you stay in the air on a single tank of fuel? And how do you go to the bathroom when you have to be up there so long? And, I was kind of drawn in also. They were pretty good stories. So the morning that our group was parting ways, half of them were going up, half of us were going across and down. My brother was kind of bummed to lose his source of aviation knowledge and entertainment. And I was kind of bummed too. Now that I had a bit more of an upbeat attitude about this travel, I felt kind of like a wimp to go down while the other teenagers were going up. The one saving grace was that we could see the line of fog and clouds, and the rest of the group was going up into the clouds, and we were staying safely below. So we set off on our trail. My dad is a little worried. He's usually the one who looks out for us on the trail, and yet he was leaving us behind. And we thought, well, at least we have Moroso with us. We'll be in good hands. We set off on the trail, happy going along, and then, dun dun dun, the rain starts to pour. the rain from those clouds that were nice and safely above us just starts drenching us. It means that we scramble to get our raincoats out of our backpacks, and that covers us, here to here. But it doesn't do anything about the mud that is getting deeper with every minute of rain. And the only parts of the trail that are not muddy are the parts where it's slippery granite rock. There are 4-inch ledges of granite, and my mom, who hates steep trails, is like clinging to the side of the mountain, trying to get one foot in front of the other on these narrow ledges, looking, trying not to look down at the drop. And I was just thinking, at that point, my attitude is back. I'm thinking, what is this crazy travel thing that my parents wanted to do? This is worse than I ever thought it could have been. So we hike through the rain, and finally, about 3:30, we drag ourselves into camp. We are soggy. We are dripping. We are melting from the rain. And our crew has gotten to camp ahead of us, thank goodness. So they've set up our tent, and it's a dry haven. It's a dry heaven to me at that point. We unzip the tent. We gingerly peel off the muddy clothes, trying to keep our sleeping bags clean, so at least we have a clean tent. And my mom, the very savvy packer, traveler that she is, has packed our dry, cozy sweatpants in Ziploc bags in the center of our duffel bags. So they're wet, or they're dry, they're cozy, and we're content. It's amazing what a transformation a pair of sweatpants can work. And I was in a good mood all of a sudden. I kind of had my sassy teenage sweatpants, felt kind of cute, broke out the playing cards and Mad Libs in our sleeping bags. It wasn't bad at all. Our guide, Moroso, and the rest of the staff, they took pity on us. They brought us drinks and snacks and even dinner in our tent, so we didn't have to venture out into the rain again. And I was even starting to find the sound of the rain on the tent kind of soothing. Maybe too soothing. You guys have probably heard what the sound of running water can do to you, especially after you've had drinks and soup for dinner. I really had to pee. And there we are. It's raining outside the tent. I have my only warm, dry clothes on. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't even like peeing, on the ground outside when I'm camping, but it's pouring rain, and I can either put my wet clothes on or I can get my dry clothes wet. I don't know what to do, and maybe I'll just hold it, but the tent is less and less pleasant the longer I hold it. And then my brother had an aha moment. Remember how he asked the fighter pilot what they do when they have to pee in the sky? Well, the answer is that they have these special heavy-duty plastic pouches, and they have super absorbent sponges inside. And they can go in their seats. Well, we did not have the super special pee sponge, but we did have Ziploc bags. So the question was, how much faith did I have in that yellow plus blue makes green double Ziploc seal, and would it protect my sleeping bag from the activity I was contemplating? Well, we thought maybe something absorbent could help manage the risk here. And I know for all of you who have been on Journeys trips, your Journeys t-shirt is your most fashionable, most coveted item of apparel. But actually, in our family, they're pretty easy to replace. So we took a Journeys t-shirt, crammed it in the bag, and thought, all right, am I really going to pee on a shirt in a bag in a tent? And my brother said, yes, you are. And he turned around kindly, and I managed to do the deed. I emptied my bladder, sealed up the double zip seal, reached out the tent, put it around the corner, out of sight, out of mind, out of smell, kind of forgot about it. I actually, as gross as it seemed like it was going to be, I was pretty proud of myself after I did it. I thought, I am hardcore. Those normal travelers on the beaches, they would not do this. And just as I was feeling smug about my accomplishment, it stopped raining. My mom and my brother did not have to pee on shirts and bags in tents, but it's good. We actually didn't have that many Journeys t-shirts with us. And I was okay with what had happened. It was a good story. The next morning, it was clearing up. There was still a lot of mud on the trail, but the skies were dry and sunny. We managed to make it down the mountain, and that might have been the end of the story. But my dad, he was still up there, and he was 2 days behind us on the trail, worrying a little bit. The farther he came down, the more he saw the muddy trails, the rocky ledges, knowing about our tentative approach to steep places, he was thinking, oh, I hope they were okay. And then his worry builds as he gets to the last camp and he sees something very familiar. He sees a Journeys t-shirt and it's stretched out across some bushes. And he says to the crew at the camp, he says, where did this t-shirt come from? Where did you find it? They had found it back in the woods, they said. And he's thinking, did they fall off the trail and this is all that's left of them? Did wild animals eat them? Did they go crazy from altitude and streak down the mountain? He just had no idea what had happened to us. And probably the guy who found the t-shirt had no idea what to think of it either. Who knows if he thought that he was gonna rescue it, dry it out in case somebody hiked back up for the t-shirt, I don't know. Or maybe he was trying to, he thought he had a good find. He was gonna dry out this t-shirt for himself. I don't know how he wouldn't have noticed the smell. Maybe I was just really well hydrated and my pee wasn't so smelly. I don't know. But as for me, I know that was the last time I got left below the clouds. It was the last time I didn't go all the way up because I do love summer camp, but if I have to do something else, I might as well make the most of it. I know that I'm tough, and in the future I wanted to prove my mettle on the trail, not the toilet.